what you're saying without saying it is that you have an abundance mentality. A lot of people would look at us, right, and what we're doing and say, why would you share with your competitors? But I think you and I feel like I'm safe saying this, but I feel like you and I more don't look at it as competitors. We're like, no, I stay in my lane. I'm good at these things. And then outside of these things, like same here, like SEO, no way. I'm not touching with that with a 10-foot pole, right?
Right.
So I'd rather share in that, become a resource, and then share that revenue with that partner or that person so that the client at the end of the day is happy, because that's the ultimate goal.
Totally. Yeah. If it's not a great campaign and it doesn't go well, then you're only okay in the eyes of your client. But if
Right.
you can hand them off for a portion of what they really need and it goes so well, then you're a hero.
Hey, everybody. How is it going out there in marketing land? I am so excited to be joined by my longtime friend, Beth Newton, today. If you don't know Beth, she's the CEO of Alpha Bravo. It's an award-winning social media marketing agency that works primarily with service-based B2B brands. She's an agency lifer. She spent her whole career working for and with marketing agencies, so you're really going to want to listen to what she has to say today. She's also a writer, a speaker, obviously an agency founder, and has a 30-year career crafting marketing strategies for companies of all sizes. Beth, welcome to the show.
Hello, Brooke. I'm so excited to be here. I'm exhausted just from you reading that.
Well, I mean, you've had a long career and you've done a lot of things. This means that you are full of wisdom to give to our listeners and our watchers.
I can only hope.
Yeah, I know you are. So I can't wait to dig in. We're going to be talking about long-lasting client relationships today because I don't know about you, but it feels like things have changed. It's gotten harder than ever to prove your value.
Yeah.
And you have some really exciting things to talk about when it comes to being a value provider, not just a service provider, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you the first question that everyone gets asked, which is, what made you do this whole crazy thing of agency ownership?
I will shorten this to the really short version. It was August 1st of 2013 when I left my full-time agency job to go freelance full-time. I became a full-time content writer, social media strategist. It was 2 weeks later that I met my partner, who was an agency of one, a designer, photographer, videographer, designer. And somebody introduced us. We exchanged business cards. And about 2 weeks later, we started working together. So he started hiring me for writing gigs. I hired him for design gig. So we kept using each other. And then eventually we ended up sharing office space. And it just came to be that we were collaborating more than not. We were strategizing together. He was designing almost everything that, I needed help with, and vice versa. One day we just kind of looked at each other across our desks and went, what are we doing? Why aren't we creating something bigger here?
Yeah.
So we formed our agency in 2016 and we got married a year later.
Oh, you're one of those. I'm one of those too. We're the outliers who work with our partners, our spouses, and let me tell you, that's a whole added layer. We should do a show, actually.
We need a whole show on it.
That. We do.
Crazy.
Yes, we are a little bit crazy, I think. So in the bio, I read, obviously, everybody knows you serve B2B companies, but what does that look like for you? Can you go a little bit into the types of clients that you serve?
Yeah. And I do say it's mostly B2B. For whatever reason, we do work with B2C. We don't talk about it as much.
Mm-hmm.
But on the B2B side, it's mostly enterprise and mid-market tech, logistics, professional services, SaaS, IT service providers. On the B2C side, we do some like plumbing companies, home remodeling, pest control, things like that, but no products.
So service-based B2B brands, which is just what it said. So she knows how to write a bio, y'all.
Brevity, man. Right?
So let's talk about let's just get the what am I trying to say? The elephant in the room out there right now. We technically, right, as agency owners, we're vendors to our
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
But you have a very good strategy for purpose and intent around being more than just a vendor. So you, when we were talking in our pre-call, you said that you're really more of like a connector and a resource than you are a service provider. So tell us a little bit about that, what that looks like from your point of view and what that means. Like, what does that mean to go from a vendor to a connector and a resource provider for your clients?
Yeah. Well, when I was starting out, and boy, do I age myself, but it was the early to mid 90s. And the agencies I worked for, all of them, everyone I worked with and for, back then it was, you had to be everything to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what they came to you for, we said yes to it. And
Mm-hmm.
if we couldn't do it, which probably half the time we couldn't, we would job it out, mark it up, and pass it off as our own all the time. These days, transparency is really important. And I have just found over the years that first of all, I don't feel comfortable. I love my clients. I want them to do well. And if I'm not great at something, I don't want to fake being great at it. I want to find the partner that is great at it. So we do that. And not just for agencies, not just finding partner agencies, but professionals who are great at things. Before COVID, we had employees.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an office in the city, and like a lot of people have the same story. The first thing we did with COVID is switch our employees to contractor status. That was a life-saving change that we made. Once we did it, we realized, oh, this is working.
Uh-huh.
We had this I call it like a bench of freelancers, where it's sort of a theater model. So depending on the campaigns and clients and projects we had, we would kind of pick and choose the group of people who were the experts, instead of just trying to be everything to everyone. No more employees just picking and choosing the best of the best, and hopefully helping people who, especially post-COVID, were trying to launch their own freelance careers and working from home. And boy, would I have loved that help back when I started freelancing.
Right.
So I love to do that. I just kept this spreadsheet, and then I had a few clients started asking us, do you know anyone? Like, they might have been interested. We had one, they needed campaign managers. They weren't sure they could handle full-time campaign managers. They didn't know how many they might need. But we talked about, what about testing it out? In agency world, we're famous for doing pilot programs.
Uh-huh.
Do a pilot program. And maybe I can help you find someone. So I'm looking at my little spreadsheet at my bench. And then I turned to my professional networks and went, oh, maybe if I reach out, I could put some feelers out. And I had a bunch of people reach out. So that's where it started. And then I offered, because this client was a little bit overwhelmed, like, oh gosh, now I've got to handle tracking the hours.
Mm-hmm.
They were all the money they had to, the budget, I guess they had to pay these campaign managers came from partner marketing dollars. So they had to track very carefully for each partner. They weren't really set up to do that. So we are set up to do it. I offered to handle all the back end of that for them, and we could pay the contractors direct deposit, just send one invoice. It just made things simpler.
Yeah.
It's basically solving challenges, which is what we do as an agency anyway. They're just maybe a little bit different solutions.
Yeah. I'm aligning so much with what you're saying, because much like you, we have a bench of players, as you call it, which I love. They're all 1099s. We've been, hybrid, remote, 1099s from the beginning. And it's true. It allows you, it kind of frees up that space to say, okay, this client wants help with XYZ. I make sure that I'm hiring someone who has that specific skill set for XYZ. Mm-hmm. But I also love that you've even taken it a step further than that. And now you're helping place these contractors at the job, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And then you're taking care of all of the back end. So I see exactly what you're saying. Let me see if I could like put it in terms that make sense for everybody. So it's like you're doing what you're doing anyway, but then you're
Yes.
capitalizing on it to give a value add, to become a resource, to become a connector for that client. And really, not that much has to change on your end.
Yeah.
So it's what we would call a value add in our industry, and it happens seamlessly, really.
Yeah. And the best part, Brooke, about it is that it's really easy to scale when, especially for smaller agencies, scaling is really tough because you only have so many people.
Yes.
And this just, makes it much easier. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So let's say we have somebody who's listening or watching right now, and they are like, oh, wow. Like the light bulb moment just happened for them. What are the first steps that they need to take to kind of start this transformation? How do they begin to change the perception of their clients and set themselves up to become more of like a partner or resource or a connector?
So that's an interesting question. Because I don't think of it as much as like it's not as a transformation as much to me as it is sort of an evolution. Because agencies are always evolving over time. If you can't evolve as an agency over time with the industry and your clients and audiences, we know what happens. Like you're out of it, you're out. So that's something we're pretty used to doing over time anyway. I would say if you think of it that way, as it's just an evolution of what you're doing anyway, first step I would say is to make a list of like all the networks or industry groups you're a part of. Like where are the places you could go in order to find those people? And then start thinking about what type of marketing or advertising pros you know best. So maybe it's creatives, like writers and designers are your thing. Maybe it's account staff, campaign managers, strategists, things like that. So it's a good place to start where you're most comfortable. Like you speak their language and you know the most people.
That's really good advice. And I think your network is so important. So, backstory here, Beth and I met. When was that, by the way? Like, how many was that? 2012? No.
Was it that long
2015?
ago?
2015?
2016, something like that.
Somewhere way back when.
Yikes. Yeah.
Beth and I met through Sprout Social, which is a social media software, like a dashboard. And funnily enough, one of our other guests and I, Beth Trejo, something about the Beths in Sprout.
Yes.
She and I connected through Sprout. And now what's funny about what you're saying is we met through our network. So just like you're saying, understand who's in your network, understand what strengths and weaknesses they have, like a SWOT compared to what you offer. Beth and I recently started working together as agencies because I offer some services that she doesn't. So we're able to white label those services for her through our team. And she meets that need for her clients without having to take on the burden of hiring, training, building out, strategies and programs herself. So I know, Beth Newton, that what you are saying absolutely works. And it took us a long time to get there. So I hope if you're watching or listening, you're much earlier in your agency ownership than I am, because it really does. Instead of selling to one client, I'm now selling to an agency like Beth, either Beth, and that's selling to many versus selling to one, because you could bring me one client, but you could also bring me 10. Yeah. So it's a really, really, really smart way to work. And I think especially right now with the, uncertain times that we've been in, things are wonky. The market still hasn't kind of settled down. People are still on hiring freezes. People are still on budget freezes. This is a really smart way to still grow your business when times are tough.
For sure. Yeah.
I love this. Okay. So I'm an agency owner. I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Okay, I know I need to think about my network. I know I need to think about like the kind of like, what does Beth offer versus me? How can we combine our forces to be even more incredible? Let's look at the networking piece. How do I build purposely with intent a network that adds value, not just to me, but obviously my client relationships? What types of connections in that network, like Beth to Brooke and Brooke to Beth, are beneficial? And how do you find those?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. That we could do an hour on this one. Where do I start? I think the first thing is to be active and engaged in whatever network you're in, because if you're passive, you don't develop those relationships.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is one of those. As a great big network, it has brought us so much business. It has brought me so many connections. So that is number one for me.
Yeah.
Understanding not just your industry, which are, the marketing agency industry, but your clients' industries, like digging into those specific industries, the business, what their long-term goals are, really understanding it. And then it's those strong relationships. The other thing is, we connect more professionals that I don't personally know yet,
Mm.
meaning someone in my network recommends someone else. Those secondary and tertiary connections are
Yeah.
so important because you don't think about them. They're not people you see or talk to or remember their names. But you could even start by going into LinkedIn, looking up who your second and third connections are, and start sending notes, start connecting, start following those people.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the best way is creating those deeper relationships with the networks you already have. Did that answer
Agreed.
the question? Yeah.
Yeah, you not only have to connect, you have to like go into what we would say like the second like converse. Like you've got to talk with these people. You've got to get to know them. Um Two questions as a follow-up to that. How much time would you say you spend on LinkedIn kind of building out this connection group for yourself? And number two, are there any other like networking groups or associations that you belong to that would also help with this step?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Wait, what was the first part of that question?
How much time do you spend on LinkedIn kind of, cultivating these connections?
Yeah. So I think of my engagement time on LinkedIn as cultivating.
Mhm.
I probably spend an hour every day. When I got really intentional, I set aside 20 minutes every morning. And that's what I usually recommend to people. Like, if you haven't and you're not doing it and you want to start, just 20 minutes first thing in the morning or lunch, end of day, wherever. And then that sort of will snowball because you can get a little lost in it. You might have to set a timer. I sometimes do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I probably spend an hour now a day on that. And then there's one day a week, usually it's Mondays, that I will spend a couple of hours.
Nice. And that
Yeah.
sounds so doable. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
sound hard at all. 20 minutes in the morning and then maybe one day where you're spending a couple of hours. And
Yeah.
then what about associations? Like do you belong to any like associations or networking clubs or mastermind groups that also help you,
Yeah.
complete this?
I I think I'm in 4 now.
Wow.
Chief, are you familiar with Chief?
Yeah.
The women executive women network.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I've been a member. I'm in my 3rd year. Hugely helpful because it's just a huge network of people and not necessarily the first connections that are chiefs, but the people that chief has introduced me to. So
Mm.
those younger women coming up in their industry who maybe
Mhm.
are not members yet are great for roles you're looking for who have some experience. I'm also a member of, do you know Jason Pfeiffer, who's the editor in chief of Entrepreneur,
Yeah.
has a group called One Thing Better. He has a newsletter called One Thing Better,
One thing better. I'll write that
and
down.
it's fantastic. It's just one thing. Um, and then he started a community. So we meet twice a month, and I've made a ton of connections there. It's a small group, but it's those small groups sometimes are great because you get deeper relationships. So you do a lot more, in-depth conversations with those folks.
Very cool.
Yes. Also a member of the Bold Leaders Collective. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that is Lee Burgess, who is also a chief member.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Fantastic network. And the last one is a newer one for me too. And this is a little bit of an outlier, but it's the NSBA Leadership Council, which is the National Small Business Association Leadership Council. So what they are all about, they're a nonpartisan government group that focuses on working with the folks in Washington to make sure that the laws that are being passed and worked out for small businesses that affect people like us, that we're able to have some say in what they are. Like you were talking earlier about 1099s,
Mhm.
and they're working on things like how do we offer healthcare to our 1099 contractors, like things like that we can't do right now. The kind of tax forms you have to fill out and all the
Mhm.
hoops you have to jump for legal. But anyway,
Oh,
I
yeah.
also met a lot of people in that group who come from all different industries and backgrounds. So,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I love that you said the last one too in SBA because they've reached out to me a couple of times and I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what this is or what it means. But now hearing you, I'm like, okay, maybe I can explore that a little bit more because that actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's so outside of what I typically do. But I feel strongly about, especially like healthcare and human services and so
Hmm.
I like to, yeah, I've met a lot of great people. It's been great.
Oh, very cool. I'm going to check that one out. Um, how about some examples? Can you give us some examples or use cases where you've provided these additional resources or connections, and then it directly benefited your clients, but then also benefited you or strengthened your relationship with that client?
Yeah. I'll go back to, I think I started to talk through earlier. I was getting ahead of myself with you. But in talking about a specific client that was wanting to grow, not sure. So we placed two campaign managers so that
Hmm.
they could test the waters. They ended up working for over 6 months, that we would handle tracking their time. Then they decided they were going to go ahead and ready to hire a full time person. So that worked out really well for them. What it did for us, though, um, is that we became these trusted advisors who were able to offer some unique solutions to challenges that they had. And out of that, we were already doing a lot of social media strategy, content
Hmm.
marketing strategy, and creation for them. After that, they brought us into different departments. So, for example, we started working with their HR team and created a culture campaign for them and put
Very
together a whole
cool.
strategy so that it ended up letting them see us in a different way, like, oh wait, they can do more than just these few things. And instead of us just telling them, hey, here's all our services, we were showing them,
Mm.
which is, I'm probably, yeah, that's my writing experience of show don't tell, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it just they automatically see the value in you, so they're placing you in more departments, right?
Yeah,
A lot of times I think with social media marketing agencies or marketing agencies in general, we start out with the marketing department, right?
right.
But who's to say once you start showing them these values that you have or how you can connect the dots for them in other places, now all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, I can see you helping with HR now, or I can see you helping with sales now. And you're not having to give them the hard pitch or cross sell them. It's
Right.
all coming through that connection piece.
Hmm. Yeah, and then their network, because if someone asks them, a lot of times as agencies, we find clients from our clients' connections. Like,
Right.
we get a good recommendation from someone. That opens the door to not just, oh, I know this marketing agency, and actually, wait, I know this business that
Hmm.
might be able to find someone to help you. So that it always helps, that word of mouth.
For sure. Well, let's going off of word of mouth, let's talk about communication strategies. So, i- are you selling these kind of like outside of the lines, right? We're coloring outside the lines a little bit with your
Yeah.
services. Do you sell these services on your website too? Or is this like we're going to start working with Brooke, just doing, what we signed up to do writing for Brooke. And then as that relationship grows, then this becomes a recommendation that's something that doesn't live on your website and comes because you've already started to build that relationship? Or is this something right from the beginning that you're like, hey, here are our messages and sales messages around these things?
Yeah, great question. We don't currently have it on our website, so it's not something we sell. But we are in the process of building a new website, and
Ah,
it will have its own spot on that website. Because yeah, I think it's worth talking about
mhm.
because companies don't think of agencies as connectors, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, we're a vendor, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That kind of leads into not just with clients and connecting people, but we do the same thing with other agencies, which happens a lot. we recently brought in an SEO agency that I love and really trust that's local. We were at a point with a longtime client, 8 years, I think we've been working with them,
Wow.
where their SEO, like PPC ads and things, it was working really well for them, but it was starting to be out of my comfort zone of what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ooh, I could find a person, but I know this agency that's just so good at it. So I connected them. And from that, this agency has hired us to help them with their social media strategies. So now we're working with their social media team to help them get stronger at that. So it's just, it's back and forth trade-offs.
I love this so much because what you're saying without saying it is that you have an abundance mentality. A lot of people would look at us, right, and what we're doing and say, why would you share with your competitors? But I think you and I feel like I'm safe saying this, but I feel like you and I more don't look at it as competitors. We're like, no, I stay in my lane. I'm good at these things. And then outside of these things, like same here, like SEO, no way. I'm not touching with that with a 10-foot pole, right?
Right.
So I'd rather share in that, become a resource, and then share that revenue with that partner or that person so that the client at the end of the day is happy, because that's the ultimate goal.
Totally. Yeah. If it's not a great campaign and it doesn't go well, then you're only okay in the eyes of your client. But
Right.
if you can hand them off for a portion of what they really need and it goes so well, then you're a hero.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. But you have to come at it with the abundance mentality. You can't really have that competitor mentality.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I never thought of that. I haven't heard that, but I like that. I might steal that, Brooke.
Oh, steal away. Steal away. It's all yours. And you too, watchers and listeners, you can steal it too. Are there any specific tools or platforms that help facilitate this role of being a connector or a resource hub for clients? Or is it really just like, this is your strategy, this is what you do as Beth?
Yeah, I want to ask you that question because I don't know. We literally use an Excel spreadsheet still. And so, yes, I always look to Sprout. You mentioned earlier Sprout Social because they were an agency partner. So I'm always like, okay, what do they have that I can use? But I don't know of any. I don't know if it's even a thing.
I don't think it is. I think it's just like, it's a strategy. I mean, I guess you could use like your CRM to like notate, like, so part of what we do in our CRM is the CRM has like the automatic labeling of someone as a lead, a client, or other. Okay. We've made a tag for a partner. So this is where, like, if you and I partnered together, Alpha Bravo was working with B Squared or B Squared, either which way, we would label you as a partner in the CRM. And then I guess that way I could go through and let's pretend like I came up with a new service. I could go find the tag of all the partners and then do an email campaign that said something like, hey, friends, want to let you know we have this new social media mystery shop that we've just implemented. Our partners, we're going to offer it to you at like some sort of like share, right? Like an affiliate almost. Like if you sell this to your clients, we will do the doing, but you'll get 10% or 15% of whatever that cost is. Something like that. That's what's coming to my head like right away.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, I think it's so important. So as part of my strategy, I just make it a point to the people who are my partners, and I define partners as people who we may work together, but they could also just be referral partners, right? So like Beth calls me up when she she doesn't provide social care. Maybe she has a client who wants that. She calls me up and she refers someone over to me. I would still label Beth as a partner in my system because you're making my job as a salesperson 10 times easier by bringing me that lead. And then the reciprocity part of it is like, hey, we don't really have a bank or a bench of writers. Maybe a client comes to us and says like, hey, we really want to rewrite the homepage. And I could be like, wow, that's amazing. I'd love to help you with that. It's not really our strong suit, but let me get you with my partner, Beth at Alpha Bravo, because this is where she's strong. And she can work with us and we can work together to make sure that this makes sense for you.
I love it. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So it's like a strategy. And you could use your tools here and there. But I think for the most part, it's like a mindset, really.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, okay. So everybody's listening, they're watching, and they're thinking, their noodles are turning, and they're saying, I think I could do this. What are some of the challenges that one of these newer agency owners or somebody who's just going to kind of branch out and start to take on this mindset might face? And how can they overcome these obstacles? Because I'm sure it's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. I think one of the first things that I was worried about was, okay, what if we hand over people and they're like, okay, great, we're just going to hire them, bye, like, thanks, and then
Yeah.
nothing happens. And like, how do we make sure that we can
Mhm.
keep this relationship? We had started out by having non-competes, but that recent FTC
Uh-huh.
banned that. And we can still have them sign non-disclosures, like,
Sure.
so that if you put a markup in there, especially if you're going to be handling the back end and doing all that, back end housekeeping
Payroll.
work.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you get paid for that. You can either, I guess, charge hourly or just a percentage of that hourly rate. So maybe you need a non-disclosure so they don't discuss it with the company. That could be something. I like to be really transparent. I want to be sure that I'm adding value to the relationship. If I'm not, then it's just a referral, like, oh, I found someone who's looking for a full-time job. She's your gal.
Right.
Nothing else needs to happen. But if you're handling all of that back end stuff like we do, and even sometimes managing like culture clashes,
Oh,
or
yeah.
issues that come up,
Mhm.
maybe it gets into a little bit of HR, but it's more about like, especially if we're working on campaigns. I still have meetings every week with those people to make sure that things are going well from their perspective inside. Now they have insight that I don't have, so we can share those insights. It's
Mhm.
kind of great. But you want to make sure that you're compensated for that. I think agencies, a lot of times, we
Mhm.
forget that there's so much of that housekeeping and back end, and we don't get compensated for it. And there are ways we can. So
Mhm.
that would be the biggest obstacle, I think, is just to make sure that your percentage is in there and that you're bringing the value that deserves that percentage.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. You need those non-disclosure agreements in place, to
Yeah,
protect yourself. But
yeah,
also, like you said, going into the strategy, am I just referring this person out and like, hey, whatever happens, whatever y'all work out, that's between y'all? Or
right.
is it more of like you said, like, okay, I can manage this person for you,
Mhm.
but their rate may be $40 an hour. But when I start managing this person, that means I have to, look at culture fit. I have to manage the back end, payroll, onboarding, training. So just so you know, in full transparency, customer, their
Right.
rate is going to go from $40 an hour to $60 an hour because there's a 20% markup or
Right.
whatever it is, right? On that fee, or a $20 markup, I meant to say, on that fee so that my costs are covered. Like I can't
Right.
do this for free. And hey, if you want the $40 rate, then you take them on and you handle all of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And really, there's even a case to be made for if they want to direct hire somebody. If
Mhm.
you have that network and you do
Mhm.
the work of it, there's nothing wrong with charging some kind of a fee, a placement fee, or a percentage off the top,
No.
to
Yeah.
find those people.
Absolutely not. Because if they were to go with a recruiting firm to do that job for
Yeah.
them, they're going to pay a very handsome placement fee.
Yes.
So you can still even have a handsome fee that's less than, say, a firm would charge because, like you said, I'm giving you access to my network and that's worth something, especially when you've cultivated this network, as we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
with high intent of doing this for your clients.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they need to pay for that experience and that work that went into that.
Hmm.
How do you measure the success of this transition? Because it sounds like you've been doing this for a while. you've got some big ideas around how it's implemented. And now it's gone so well for you that you're even changing your website to say like, hey, we do this thing. So what were some of the indicators along the way that helped you realize like, oh, there's a there, and I'm making more money now and I'm becoming more valuable to my clients? What does that look like so that other people who are maybe going through this or want to go through it will know like, okay, this is when I know I'm doing the right thing?
Yes. For me, this is funny because this was not my idea. I have to be honest. This was my partner's idea. And I was like, that won't work.
Get out of here.
That's crazy talk. And I talked to I had my career coach, my old career coach through Chief. And she was like, what? That's brilliant. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. It was brilliant. Sorry about that. One of the problems when you're married to your partner.
Yes, it's hard. It's hard sometimes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But like, did y'all set up like metrics to measure, or like, was it revenue, or was it like renewals? Was it a combination of both? What were some of those like KPIs or metrics that said, okay, this is really a thing?
Immediate revenue. And not just revenue, but looking at the increase in revenue compared to this increase in my time was so small. And that's so what we're looking for to scale in an agency. Like if I don't have to spend a ton of time, but I can bring a ton of value and increase not just our gross revenue, but our profit margin.
That's what I was going to say. The margin. So your profit margin is a real telltale sign.
Absolutely.
That you're doing this successfully, because obviously it doesn't take quite as much time as some of your other services, but you're still getting that payment on that service.
Yes, 100%. We nearly doubled our revenue last year because of it. Yeah.
Wow. This is amazing. And y'all, I feel like this is I'm not going to say whether we're in a recession or not, but as we sit here in the summer of 2024, right, we're all going, are we? Aren't we? What's going on? But this feels very recession proof.
Yes.
Because you're just doing something that you're already doing anyway, right? So the lift for you is minimal, but the service and the value to the client is max.
Is
right?
big. And if we are going through a recession and our clients are feeling it and our clients are going, oh, we're in a hiring freeze. We cannot do that right now, but we could add a couple of part-time contractors to help us out. We don't have the bandwidth. We're a smaller team now. It's definitely recession proof, I think.
That's awesome. I love it. Look at how we're solving all the problems over here. I hope everybody's watching and listening.
I think we're done for the week.
We're just going to call it done. We're going to hang up today. We're going to call it done. We're going to go out and get a suntan. What ongoing actions should agency owners take to sustain and grow this type of value add for their clients?
Okay. Yes. Number one, pay attention and listen for the challenges that aren't necessarily directly tied to the work you do. Just keep your ears open to things you might be able to help with. Speak up too. Like that's been something I've done from the very beginning when I very first started freelancing years and years ago, was just tell people you're doing it. Talk about it in conversations. Because you never know where that's going to go. What else can I say? Brain freeze. That's it. That's all I got.
No, but it makes sense. Listen, which, by the way, I think is a huge piece of advice, because a lot of us aren't actively listening. We're listening for our turn to talk, right? So if you're actively listening, you're going to pick up on these pain points. I mean, this is literally how we came to create our social care services. Clients kept saying things like, we have an in-house content team. We have an in-house creative team. It's not so much the content, but it's like the community or the moderation. Like they all had different words for it, but ultimately what they were talking about was social care, right? If I hadn't have been listening and then starting to like identify patterns of customers saying something similar, we would have never gotten to that service. So I do think listening is a really big tip, even though it may not sound like it, but actively listening is important. And then, just like you said, figuring out ways to say, oh, you're having problems with paid. Huh. Does that sit with an internal team or another agency? Okay, great. Well, listen, not to step on anybody's toes, but we do offer paid services. So if you ever need just an extra set of eyes, or maybe somebody to come in and run some test campaigns, and then if you love those campaigns, we can talk about what it looks like to move to us or have this person come sit on your team. Yeah, because otherwise, how do they know?
Right.
Right.
And Brooke, that brings up, as you're talking, I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, yes. And what about connectors inside companies? Because we've had clients in big enterprise brands who like have all these different departments, right? They've got event marketing, partner marketing, product marketing, social, organic, paid are separate departments. And
Yes.
so maybe what they need is a connector internally to align all these teams together. And maybe that's something either you can be or you can bring in someone, because gosh, it's hard as an agency when you're trying to build campaigns and strategies and you've got 5 different departments and nobody's talking to each other and nothing's aligned. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone there who could like bring folks together?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and this speaks to exactly why this is an immediate value add, because as you know, working with enterprise and middle market clients, most of these departments operate in silos.
Yeah.
They don't operate as a cohesive team. And so if you can start to help that happen internally with some of the services or the people that you can offer, or some of the partners that you can white label services through, heck yeah. Imagine now all of a sudden you've got, your fingers in 10 different departments versus
Yes.
one. And guess what that means for you? Sure, more money, more profit margin, but it also probably means longevity,
Yes.
right? Because we all know when hard times happen, marketing's the first to go and the last to come back. But if you're sitting inside of marketing, sales, HR, product development,
Right.
you're probably not going to be cut.
Right. And you're making all those connections, adding to your network, all those people. Usually, as agency owners, we have like somebody's on the client side, a VP or director. They move to another company. Maybe they bring you in.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've got 4 or 5 different departments where somebody leaves and then maybe they remember you. So you're just increasing the chances to bring in more clients.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think what we're saying, y'all, is just be a little bit more strategic in your thinking. Have an abundance mentality, be strategic, and start to align yourself with partners like Beth, who can help you with certain, verticals or industries or services that you can't speak to. Gosh, this has been a fantastic conversation. I love talking to really smart agency owners, and I wrote down so many great notes.
Oh my God. We need to work together.
We do. We're going to totally work together after this,
Yes.
y'all.
Yes.
We're going to be the guinea pig for this episode to show you exactly how it works.
Yes.
Then we could write a whole book about it. I mean, there's the possibilities are endless.
We'll go on
right?
tour, Brooke.
We're going to go on tour. That's it. It's happening. For those people who are watching or listening and they want to connect with you, they want to partner with you, how do they find you? What are you working on? How should they connect with you? Tell us all of those good things.
Yeah, I would say number 1, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn connections and I'm really active on LinkedIn. So I'm easy to find. Beth M. Newton on LinkedIn. And then I also have a newsletter that's out. I think in its 4th month now. It's called The Social Savvy Marketer. It's for all marketers of any stripes who just want to be more social savvy or stay social savvy. So that you can find on LinkedIn as well. And gosh, I'll be touting hopefully a new website here in the next month or 2.
Don't we love a new crisp, fresh website?
So hard to do your own.
So it is. It really is. But man, once you get it published, it's going to mean everything.
Yes, excited.
Well, y'all, it's been fantastic talking with you again. I love how strategic we were on this call together. Hopefully you did too. We will see you again next week with another episode of the Marketing Agency Show.
Thank you so much, Brooke.